You don't want to be exposed. Exposed is a
Manny, good
negative
morning
term.
to you.
Good morning, Dean. Dean, what does your shirt say? I'm trying to make the audience. What is that?
It's Psycho Bunny.
Psycho Bunny.
Yeah, Psycho Bunny.
That's real Easter of him.
Real. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's so Dean. That's a Dean. Yeah, that's Dean.
I just got back from vacation. Took the kids down to Florida for their spring break.
Great.
We spent a few days at the Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale, and then a few days in a little town called Delray Beach.
Del Rey.
We had a good time, although I did get robbed at the Hard Rock.
What do you mean robbed?
Literally.
Robbed?
Robbed.
Wow.
Whoa. Why do you not tell us these things?
Yeah,
man?
yeah. I think I'm pretty sure it was the housekeeping staff.
Oh, okay.
Not the casino?
No, actually, the casino made a contribution to the Weitzman Fund, but housekeeping took a little bit of that away.
You really think so, huh?
Oh, for sure. I had just gone downstairs and bought some clothes from their store, Psycho Bunny, in their. I don't know. They have a little mall there, and so I had that. I had my Louis Vuitton hat with a brim. You know, it was a really nice hat. There was a little beach bag which happened to have my Louis Vuitton sunglasses in there. So yeah, we got. It was just weird stuff they took, and they got tapes of everything.
That's the
that.
other thing.
Except that.
You're kidding. Really? Inside job.
Well,
what
you
are they,
know,
Ocean's 11?
They bring that cart to the door of the room that they have their supplies in.
Right.
I'm convinced that the camera doesn't see. At that point they found a dead spot with the
The
cameras,
conspiracy.
and then they put it
theorists.
under the cart, and then they wheel it away. Yeah. So I would.
Are you going forth with any type of law?
Well, we're going to see. It's been a week. They've been investigating. I don't know. In the meantime, I suggest everybody stay away from that joint. Yeah, it's bad.
What joint would
news.
that be again, Dean?
Yeah, that's the Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale.
All right. You heard him.
Yeah, they're just not. It's not worth taking a chance. And if you're going to go, you gotta stand there and watch housekeeping as they clean the room.
That's not a big
That's not good.
Yeah, not good at all.
Not good.
All right. Anyway, we'll get beyond that. Mr. Gross is in the studio, and when he's here, we're talking about workers' compensation, folks. If you've got a legal issue or question, I'm going to tell you what I tell you every week. Give us a call at 215-227-2727. We'll answer any question you have today. Any question, any concern, we'll answer. I will. That's what I get paid to do.
How's the market going to do next week?
Yeah.
That's a good
Are
question.
we going to find the pilot that was shot down?
Let's not get into politics, but needless to say that things are not well on the home front. 215-227-2727. It's the number for all things legal. My Philly Lawyer sponsors Court Radio, and we are voted gold medalists, #1 in all of Philadelphia for Philly's favorite personal injury firm.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Can't lose.
And that is 2 years in a row.
A dynasty is
Yes, a dynasty.
the beginning. A dynasty.
So, Mr. Gross, I think I get pushback from clients that are afraid when they've had a case. And oftentimes, folks, Jeff and I will work on a case together. What happens? He has a workers' comp component to the claim. The person was injured at work. Yet there is still a third-party claim. Now, typically, you cannot bring a claim against your employer or coworkers for their negligence. However, if your injury occurs because of the negligence of a third party, like, for instance, you're working in an office building and there's some defect, and as you're coming in or going out of work, you trip and fall on that defect, you may have a claim against the building owner or the maintenance company, but you still have a workers' compensation claim. They're completely different claims, different parties, and Jeff will handle the workers' comp portion, and we'll handle the third-party portion. And so I find sometimes people want to pursue a claim against the at-fault party, who is not their employer, but they're scared to death to bring a claim against their employer for fear that they'll be canned.
This happens way too often, and it happens a lot. And I'm really seeing a lot more of it now because people are afraid that if they tell their employer, their supervisor, about their injury and about what happened, that they're going to lose their job.
Sometimes they'll say to me, "Hey, Dean, I'm on. I had just started this job. I'm still on a period where they can me. Probation. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I'm on a probationary period or in a probationary period, and I don't want to bring a claim. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job."
Exactly. And the other scenario is that I've been working this job for 35 years. I don't want to ruin it now.
What do you say to those people? And is there any truth to those fears?
There is truth to those fears, but there's truth to those fears and there's truth to those fears. In other words, if you lose your job, if you haven't been working for a company for that long, and like you said, maybe you just started the job a couple months ago or something, and you get injured in an accident, if you don't tell your employer, your supervisor, about what happened, you are barred from bringing a claim. You have to do that immediately, but the law says within 120 days from the accident date or from the time that you realize the connection between your injury and the accident. And a lot of times people have a repetitive injury where they continue to do their work over and over again, and it insults an injury and gets worse and worse to the point where they can't do it any longer. And they don't really associate that with the work accident, because it's simply their body that's having a problem. But it is aggravating. The work duties are aggravating that condition. And so people don't realize that. So it doesn't begin to run until you do realize that there is a claim or the date that you last work. But the problem is that by not notifying your supervisor, your employer, you could have a bar to your claim altogether, and that's not a good thing. So if you've only been there a couple of months and this happens to you and you're afraid of losing your job, what would happen if you didn't tell your supervisor and unfortunately were barred from making a claim while at the same time you because you can't do your job, you're not performing well in the job in the job itself? That's a double whammy. So you're delaying the inevitable. So my advice is to speak to an attorney first, just to make sure that you know what your rights are. Because if you don't know what your rights are and you don't know where what your path is going forward, you'll be more afraid and you could do a worse thing. So by failing to notify your supervisor, you may be ruining your rights to make a claim. By failing to notify your supervisor and your condition is getting worse and you not performing well, you might lose your job because you're not performing well. So you have to be able to assert your rights. And that's the hard part that many people have. They're just afraid. And afraid is okay, but that's why you need to speak to somebody who can guide you. Speak to an attorney who can tell you what to
happens. Let's assume somebody makes a claim and they are fired. Okay. Does that hinder their claim? Does it improve their claim? What happens with the case at that point? You don't have a job.
Well, that's actually good news. It's actually a blessing in disguise is what I tell my clients.
To be fired?
To be fired.
Oh.
I'll tell you why. When you get hurt at work, there's a lot of shenanigans that go on with insurance companies and employers. The employers do not want their insurance premiums to go up. And the insurance companies will tell them, you're making you got a bunch of claims here. We're going to have to increase your rates. You're a risk to us. It's all about the money, Dean. And what ends up happening is they will say, if you don't follow our directive on this and bring this person back in for a modified duty program so that we don't have to pay him workers' compensation, we're going to have to raise your rates. And so they put pressure on the employer to bring them back to a modified duty role so that the insurance company doesn't have to pay the workers' compensation wage loss benefit. And what ends up happening is they'll send you to a doctor, and that doctor will say, well, he can't do his job, but he can certainly do modified duty, and here's what he could do, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. The insurance company will jump on that and make sure that the employer brings that person back in a position that's been sanctioned by their doctor. And if that happens, the employee has an obligation to attempt it in good faith. And if that's the case, they could really ruin someone's life. They could bring them back into a very, very bad position that they just have to sit there, which doesn't sound so bad. But then they could do things to them to either A, make them want to quit, treat them badly, or B, fire them for cause because they're doing something wrong or they're not complying with the policies of the employer in performing this modified duty position. And there's a whole bunch of examples of that. But the good news is that if they terminate your employment while you're out on workers' compensation or you're making a claim and you're not yet on workers' compensation and they terminate your position, they lose all control of bringing you back. And if they lose the control to bring you back, that increases the value of your claim for purposes of a settlement.
How do judges feel when you present a client to a workers' compensation judge and through testimony, and the judge realizes that the employee has been canned by the employer? How does that impact his or her decisions affecting that employee?
So the standard, remember, is whether what the extent is of this person's disability. That's what the judge is supposed to focus on, not whether they've been terminated, not whether they've been demoted, not whether there's issues with their pension or something like that, but whether they can or cannot do that job because of the work injury. And so the judges are not supposed to consider that, but judges are human, and there's a human factor here. And when you learn that the behavior of the employer, albeit irrelevant to the claim, is bad behavior, it generally will flavor the claim. And so when you present an individual who's been injured at work, who they've been putting the screws to, and then terminates their job, it's a negative connotation for the claim with the employer. It's a good connotation for the claimant.
215-227-2727. Have you been injured at work? And how was your claim handled at that time?
What's bothering me about this whole thing in this scenario, and I was injured at work, I've been through this, but why is there nothing in place to protect the employee? Why is there no guardrail for them in this instance where they can't be fired?
Well,
there should be There is.
There is.
I'm thinking, was it EOC? What am I thinking of?
So if you are a union member, you have something called a collective bargaining agreement.
All right.
And those agreements generally provide for precautions and safety measures as well as basically protection for the employee to guarantee his or her job or to make sure that the employer cannot bring them back to a position that is not designed by that role of the individual in the first place. So while in normal, everyday work-related injury claims, the employer can use the restrictions of the doctor to create a job position for this employee and still have them come back to work to negate the claim of workers' compensation, so to speak. When you have a situation where there's a collective bargaining agreement, a lot of times that collective bargaining agreement will disallow a position other than that regular position that person was hired to perform. So there cannot be a modified position. So that does help and does act as a safeguard for the employee's position. The other provision, of course, is a retaliatory firing, where you have a situation where the employer, and this has nothing to do with insurance and the insurance company directing the employer to provide a modified duty position. This has to do with the employer itself saying, I don't like this guy. We don't like this guy. This guy's a defective wheel. You know, you buy a new car, Dean, and you learn after about, I don't know, 3 weeks that you have a defective wheel. And you want to bring it back and get a new one put on, but maybe the chassis is a little messed up because of the way you've been driving on this defective wheel, or would you like a new car?
I'll take a new car, please.
Exactly. And so the employers would like a new car, so to speak. They don't want a defective employee who's hurt. They want to get rid of this person. And so they'll do what they can to remove this person from having to curtail their functioning. So the smaller employer, or the larger employer even, who has an employee who gets hurt, who can't do their job, rather than waste their resources and bring them back to some fake job, which they really don't want to do, will take it upon themselves against insurance advice or without insurance advice, and just simply find a way to terminate that employee employer relationship. And so there is a retaliatory component to this, and there is a claim. There's actually a case law called the Schick case, SCHICK, that governs.
You remember Schick razors?
I do remember Schick razors.
Yes.
Did you ever have one?
No.
Me neither. And as a result of that,
I'm not a big electric razor guy.
You're not.
No.
I am. I've been shaving electric my whole life.
I think I missed that.
Gentlemen, focus.
Sorry, focus.
I don't feel clean with an electric shaver.
That's because you got the wrong shaver.
No, I believe in a straight razor.
I'm a Remington fan.
American
made.
I have to admit, Remington was a well-made electric shaver. You never tried a Remington? I'm losing focus.
Dean, I'm going to buy you a Remington
blade.
They're $40
and a brush. I use.
And that's the. I get that.
The old-fashioned way. He's old-fashioned.
But I understand that because that's a vibe with it. I get
it's
that.
A vibe.
It is a vibe. I don't know that it's necessarily closer. Well.
Oh yeah, it's close. Trust me.
All right.
So
if
the
you know
Schick
what you're
case
doing.
has nothing to do with Schick razors. Just saying. I don't want to think people thinking that they got it. Then they're going to
suddenly
boycott
this show
Schick
has gone.
because
The show is going to Schick.
The show's going to Schick.
Often it does.
Yeah. It's not Schick's fault that they terminated some employee, but the Schick case has to do with the person.
It was probably Mr. Schick.
Exactly.
The Schick.
Who was
Get the
unfortunately
Schick
terminated.
out of here. Come on.
Okay, yo. We have to cut y'all mics.
Right? A slip of the tongue could cost us the FCC license.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So at the end of the day, this poor guy got terminated because he made a workers' compensation claim, and they said, well, we're going to terminate you then. And you can't have a reason, you can't have a retaliatory reason for firing an individual.
What happens?
Yeah.
What's
Well, you
the end
damages.
result?
You get damages for that.
Okay.
Now, here's the problem, and this is the practical problem with one of those cases. And by the way, they can always say, well, we had an economic downturn, and so we had to terminate you because we cannot hold your position any longer. By the way, that's okay. It's that they cannot retaliatorily fire you because you're making a workers' compensation claim. There's a distinction without a difference, really, because what ends up happening is you have the unfortunate choice of deciding, do I want to pursue the wrongful termination claim, or do I want to pursue the workers' compensation claim? Now, in a situation where you've got a lot of benefits on the line, in a termination claim that might have teeth, and if you have a contract or you have certain rights that you want to maintain as your employment rights, it makes sense. But the reality of the situation is, in many times, the workers' compensation case alone would be worth a lot more than a retaliatory wrongful termination
and
claim.
as you said, it's going to flavor the case anyway. You're going to get a benefit from it with the judge.
Correct.
I believe that. Like, judge looks and says, okay, I know what's going on here. And he punishes the employer.
One of the things that I recommend to my clients is, if they think they've been terminated for retaliatory purposes, is that they should begin the steps at least to protect themselves, to preserve the claim. And what they have to do is they have to go in Pennsylvania to the PAHRC, which is the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, within a certain period of time, and I recommend doing it immediately. The threshold, I believe, is 6 months. But they must go immediately to them and obtain a fact-finding mission here to determine
Ini-
whether
initiate a claim with the
PAHRC.
Yeah, PAHRC, and that'll move along at its own pace, which is slow as hell. And you continue to pursue your workers' comp claim.
You can always drop the PAHRC claim.
Let's talk to Rodney
And let's talk to Rodney.
on line 3.
Morning, Rodney.
Rodney, welcome to
Morning.
Court Radio, sir.
How you feel? How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. You got a question or jump in here on a comment?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have a question. I was in an accident 2003. Tractor trailer driver. My partner went over an embankment and I bust my back. I had 2 surgeries. Put in a claim. I got settlement was medical for life, workman's comp. I still receive a workman's comp check bi-weekly. The medical, I was under the care of workman's comp doctor from 2003 to 2018. The doctor went to private practice. He had his own business, and the insurance company cut me off the medical. My personal insurance, Blue Cross 65, I had to use them to get my medication. I still take medication. I'm having more problems and complications. Workman's Comp does not want to talk to me. I went back to the lawyer who represented me in 2003. I never got a response. I talked to maybe 3 or 4 doctors in the past couple years, and it makes me feel like if there's nothing in it for the lawyer to represent me, they don't want to touch it.
Is your
Question
lawyer?
I have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is your lawyer a workers' compensation lawyer, or is your lawyer a
Yes.
personal injury lawyer?
He's all of that. This guy been in from Mount Jersey. My job is in Jersey. I live in Philadelphia. He's
Okay.
a workman's comp / accident, all of that. I have a letter that he drew up for me 2003 on the responsibilities of the insurance company. What I did was a bad move during the settlement. They said, we'll give you workman's comp for life and the insurance, but you have to take the right to sue away. And I was in a real bad financial place back then, and I took the right to sue. So my question is, I'm not hearing from them. All I want the lawyer to do is contact them and open the claim, well, not the claim, still receive the benefits that was given to me in court.
So you want let me just get this right. You don't believe you have your medical benefits that you were promised because the workers' comp is not paying for the doctors. You're still receiving your biweekly check, but you would like to have your medical benefits paid like they promised you.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Then I got a question. How did your medical benefits get turned off?
They got turned off when I'm going to break his in. Dr. Kwan moved and did his private, he opened up his own business.
Okay.
And-
Hold on, Rodney. I mean, technically, legally, that shouldn't change anything. You just move on to another recognized comp doctor, and they should be paying it. So if they're not paying it, and you did have an agreement for a life of payments for claims related to your workers' comp, then you just need to find yourself another recognized workers' comp doctor.
But doesn't the insurance company have to authorize another doctor?
Only
Well-
in New Jersey, yes. It's a New Jersey claim.
Yeah. I want you to give Jeff's office a call on Monday, and you're going to ask for Patrick. Patrick is the attorney, Jeff's partner, who focuses on New Jersey. And so, am I speaking out of turn?
No, you're absolutely right.
Okay. So what number should Rodney call on Monday?
Well, you can call me, and I will get you put in touch with Patrick, and my number is 215-512-1500.
He loves that.
Yeah.
That's his cell.
That's
That
my
is
cell
his
number.
cell personal number, guys.
It is.
215-512-1500. All right, Rodney?
We'll see what we can do for you, brother.
I'm sorry you had to go through that in Florida. I had a timeshare in Florida and got ripped off. But I listen to your show all the time, and thank you for the information.
You're very
thanks.
welcome, Rodney. God bless you, and have a great Saturday, sir.
All right, thank you.
Folks, we're up against our break. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. YouTube will not be broken. Radio will be, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
In the barbershop, the guy takes the straight razor out by the chair and gets that leather.
Yep.
Sharpens it up.
That's called, I think that's called
Yes.
is that called a strop? STROP, I
Oh,
believe.
from the
Strop. That's a strop.
That's a strop.
Yeah.
You remember that?
That sharpens the blade, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my barber when I was a kid was Heinz Wendt.
Heinz?
Heinz. I think, he might have had a little of that going on back in the old
You
country.
know what this means in German? Means I love you dearly.
You're live on YouTube.
I am?
You are.
Oh.
We don't take a YouTube break.
We do not take a
We
YouTube break.
do not take a YouTube
In that
break.
case?
And we
Well,
answer
to use
YouTube
that.
questions during the YouTube break.
That's
absolutely right.
awesome.
Carly, do we have any comments or questions from YouTube?
The main question was about your room.
My room at Hard Rock?
They wanted to know what kind of room did you get, and did they give you refunds?
I actually had 2 rooms. I had a room, which was a suite, and then a second room for the kids. And I didn't pay for my room. It was comped because I am a player, and they wanted to attract me down there to play. And so they gave me a room. I paid for everything else after that, including the theft of about $6,000 worth of shit. And so we're negotiating now. We're going to see whether they're going to pay for the things they stole from me.
Interesting.
I
And
have
so-
a question though. So say you get work, or you say you get hurt at work, but you're
Hosts
allowed-
and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One Incorporated, Radio
The
One,
less
or any of its
okay, so
subsidiary
that's the
companies.
question. The less physical your job, makes the claim harder to prove.
Need more legal answers? Here's More Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Ability or inability. Yeah, baby, we're back. I am your host, Dean Weitzman, every Saturday morning right here on 100.3 WRNB.
and Classics 107.9.
And that's Tactics Jackson tickling the keys today.
Heard but not seen.
Yes. And we have Manny Manuel in the studio.
Good morning, everyone. Dean, have you driven any of your convertibles lately? And this weather is getting so nice.
Well, I literally landed last night from Florida.
no.
I missed I heard you had beautiful weather up
and
here.
one really nasty day, but yeah, we did.
And
Thursday
so no, I haven't, but today looks like a nice day.
Yeah.
I feel like I should take out maybe the Mercedes, the SL63. Slide that top down and, show off my tan.
Is that what that is? I thought it was a happy glow.
He does look clean shaven, though, right?
You really do, man. It's
Yeah.
just that chic razor.
That chic razor, but it's really.
Don't shick around.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Shicker.
Oh,
A shicker.
A shicker. There you
Oh, that
go.
must be. See, we don't know what that culturally.
Isn't it interesting? He knew right away.
Right
it was
away.
Some Jewish thing.
It's some cultural. I didn't say that's cultural, but I got you.
A shicker in Yiddish
Yes.
is a drunk.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And not in a good way either. The grandmothers love to say, oh, he's a shicker.
Okay. Anyway, back to Jeff Gross and workers' compensation. Carly had a question on the break. And
Good question.
Carly was, well, what if you're like just one of those loafers? Like you just, you work with a couple fingers. You don't really need to have any, physical activity.
Like tickling the keys?
Like tickling the keys.
That is a very common situation, and I will tell you that not everybody who gets hurt at work has a case. Some people get you if you're a bank teller and you have a paper cut on your finger as a result of a work-related paper cut, and you can't shuffle the money, then you might be out of work until that little paper cut heals for 2 days. But the point is, it's not a case. So if you get hurt at work and your job is a cushy job, like you're just saying, like you're a loafer.
How about like a lawyer?
Like a lawyer. Perfect example.
A loafer.
I'll tell you a
Where did that even come from, loafer?
Where your job-related duties are not physical, then you have a case technically, because anytime you have an injury at work is a case, so to speak. But you may not really have much of a case because it really depends on the reasons why you can't perform your job. Why are you disabled? What makes it about your job that you can't do? What is it about the injury that keeps you from performing your position? And so when they bring people back to modified duty where they are capable of just sitting there for 8 hours a day with an hour break for lunch, then they can do that. And judges do look at that and do not look at that as, oh, this is a horrible employer. They look to see if this is a legitimate offer for a job that they have, and they're paying the person the same wage rate or the same wages. And at the end of the day, if this person just says, I can't do that job because it's beneath me, or I wasn't hired for that job and there's no collective bargaining agreement, then it becomes very difficult to bring the claim.
Remember, folks, there's two parts of every workers' compensation claim. So you've got the you're going to be compensated because you're not capable of doing your normal, usual occupational duties, and your medical expenses for the treatment related to your work-related injury are covered. Those are independent claims. You may not get your workers' comp piece, the wage piece, because you can continue to do your job, but if you need treatment, you will get the medical portion of the claim. And so sometimes there are cases where you're out for the medical, you're getting treatment for a long time, but you're capable of doing your job. And that's still a bona fide claim, and it has to be paid. Those medical treatments can't be paid by Blue Cross Blue Shield because it is a work-related injury. They will be denied. And so you must make a claim, if only to have your medical expenses paid. Don't forget that. And there may be a third-party case involved in that, as we've talked about before, where you're pursuing a claim against the at-fault party who caused the injury. You're getting treatment, which is covered by workers' compensation. All of that happens, but you're just not out of work.
So there are examples, though, that we just raised that do amount to a good claim. If you're a lawyer and you trip over a wire and you fall down and you hit your head and you are a little bit out of it, a lot out of it, and you have a bad concussion and you're just not able to focus or think, and this could be a major head injury, yes, you could be out of work, even though all you have to do is sit and maybe type and talk on the phone and present in court, even if it's virtually. If your brain isn't in it, how do you tickle the keys?
Right.
So that is a claim. And
I've seen things do fall from ceilings.
I've
while
seen
you're
that
sitting.
too. I've got cases like that.
Yeah, that happens a
By
lot.
the way, we've had cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, are you seeing many people who are working at home nowadays?
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing a lot of people working at home.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it's really interesting because I have a case right now where this guy was relegated to homework, basically, after the pandemic, and it never changed, and he's still working from home. But what happened to him was that he had his computer on the second floor of his condo, and on the first floor he had his printer. And he literally was doing his work, and he went to print something, and he was kind of in a rush. and he has 2 kids, and so he went to hit the print button and went to go downstairs to get the copy from the printer. His kids' toys were on the steps, and he tripped over the toys, fell on the steps, and got really messed up. And so, is it a work-related injury? It didn't happen at work, but it did happen in the course and scope of his employment because he was literally doing a job function.
But it was his kid's toy.
Well, then he has a third-party claim against his kids, doesn't he?
So that even though it's kind of his own fault for not cleaning up his kid's crap,
Well, so workers' compensation is a no-fault act.
what does that mean?
That means it doesn't matter if it's my fault, your fault, his fault, or anybody's fault. You have a claim. If you can find fault in a third party, you have a third-party claim. But if there is no third-party claim, there is no third-party claim. It's simply a workers' compensation claim. You could be really stupid and cause a motor vehicle accident and have a one-car collision where you weren't paying attention and you ended up hitting a tree. Whose fault is that? It's your fault. Do you have a workers' compensation claim if you were in the course and scope of your employment?
I don't know. Do you?
You certainly do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who's at fault on workers' comp. You can be at fault. A coworker can be at fault. You still get your salary and your medical expenses paid.
Yeah.
Maybe for the rest of your life.
Well, depending on how severe the injury is, yeah.
Wow. 215-227-2727. I know you have something on the tip of your tongue, but we got guys waiting here. Line 5, Casey.
Hey, Casey.
Oh, Casey.
Casey going once.
Casey and the
Sunshine Band?
No.
Good one.
Gone.
Casey at the bat? I don't know.
Good book.
Line 4, Brian. Oh, Brian.
R&B artist O'Brien.
Okay. Sarah. Oh,
Smile.
Sarah. New callers, please.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Where's everybody?
Well, in all fairness, they've been on hold with their burning question from the time the show opened.
And we've been talking schick all day.
Yeah. Okay, Schicker. What?
Hey. What do they call a person? Is there a Yiddish term for that?
Yeah.
There is there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a Yiddish term for everything. But we're gonna let you. You had something on the tip of your tongue.
I want to go back for a second to when you're debating about whether I should file or not and worrying about getting your job back or not. Do you have any idea what's the percentage of folks that do go back after
I couldn't
filing?
give you a percentage.
There is no real hard number.
I would tell you that most people who get hurt at work end up going back to work.
Do they
because
really?
They're not that significant of an injury. I mean, people have work injuries.
Not
all
the people
time.
Jeff represents, though.
The people that I represent are generally unable to do that.
All right.
And so when you can't do your job, then you have a claim. If you have an injury at work, you have a medical claim to start. And if you can't do your job, yes, you have a work-related.
All right, so when the injury occurs, initially, it's happened, the first thing is contact you or HR.
Contact HR and let them know about it. But you
Right.
can contact me ASAP, and if you can't contact me immediately, contact me after immediately. Just contact me, and I can walk you through the steps that you need to do to protect yourself.
So,
People
basically, if it's temporary, you just get disability. It's not a claim.
No, it is a claim. You simply need to make sure that your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed. You got to make sure that you qualify for the claim. You have to give notice to the employer. You may have to treat with the employer's panel physicians for 90 days, or you may not. Most of the time you don't, even though the rule is that you do. Employers do not perfect the requirement that you have to treat with their doctors many of the times, and that's because they don't do the requisite underlying conditions that are needed to be actually captivate treatment.
Well, that was a
really tough
convoluted way of saying you're going to go to my doctor
Yes.
because the employer isn't got it right.
Right.
And Jeff knows more about workers' comp than employers. He knows more about workers' comp than carriers who are paying workers' comp claims. He knows more about workers' comp than anybody else I know in Philadelphia.
That's very sweet of you.
I mean, well, it's the truth, though. I mean, if I had a workers' comp claim, I'd go to Jeff Gross.
He's not talking schick either.
I am not talking schick. Schick you. All right, so
You can't boo him.
Yo, I mean, come on. Language.
it's Schick. There's a K
Yiddish.
there.
Get with the program.
Okay. I had something I wanted to say.
About
Well-
treating with your employer, doctor, maybe?
No.
About the working from home thing is interesting to me.
Yeah, well, that's a claim.
But are you seeing an uptick in that?
I have seen an uptick in that, although people tend to say, well, I could just sit at home and do work, so I'm just going to do that. So unless it's a significant injury,
It's not
remember-
worth it, really,
Right.
is it?
This guy that fell down the steps really got messed up.
Okay.
He has fractured ribs, he's got fractured bones, and he's got a herniated disc. And
Yikes.
he doesn't have a third-party case because, as you pointed
Yeah.
out,
This is-
it was
this
his
is critical.
kids' toys. that
Wow.
got-
Yeah. Even I can't think of a third-party case in that
Unless it's new
scenario.
construction and they don't have the carpets nailed down right. And
Well, hold on. The pandemic really changed the game then, didn't it? I mean, you guys didn't see this coming. And then afterwards.
I would never have thought that would have been a
I
common
actually
type
did
of
see
case.
it coming.
You did?
Well, I just want to say that, like, literally 30 days before the pandemic, we went completely digital and were able to function. Like, when we shut the offices for the pandemic, the next day we were up and running, everybody at home.
Us too.
You know, it
But
was
I didn't
crazy.
see that kind of an injury coming. Like you're Nostradamus.
I am.
Nostradamus, yeah. But I'm saying.
Nostradamus.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. No, but what I want to ask is, so the pandemic is now over, and because folks were now doing, what was the term? Not satellite. What was the term we were using? When
Remote working.
Remote. So that changed the whole game for you guys, correctly?
It did.
You didn't see that coming.
It changed the whole game for us because the way we litigated cases was remotely. And so instead of going into court in front of a judge on each of these cases, we were able to do this virtually behind Microsoft
Do you still
Teams.
do it virtually?
Yeah.
Really?
And
so
so-
you don't go to court anymore?
I do go to court, but I don't go to court that often because most of the stuff is virtual now, which allows me to take on more cases and allows me to represent people all around the state without curtailing my time. I could really take 5 cases a day, one in Philadelphia, one in Harrisburg, one in York, one in Pittsburgh, one in Scranton, one in Erie. That's 6 cases. And all in one day, and not have to travel around the state to these court.
You
houses.
used to fly. Jeff's a pilot.
Get out of here.
he would
he
jump-
told us he was one. Too.
I was a failed pilot. He's a real one. He jumped in his plane and phew, he's in Erie, Pennsylvania, handling a case.
It's true. I
Yeah.
actually did in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and it was really cool because I got to Altoona, landed, and my client and his wife were sitting on the tarmac. He was in a wheelchair, and she was standing behind him. And here's our lawyer coming in, flying in from Philadelphia. I was like a superhero. It was a very cool experience.
That isn't both. Who would have known it about both you guys? The whole failed thing was a good story. At least you went for it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I didn't know you were a pilot. I've
yeah.
always wanted to fly. I want to learn to fly helicopters for
Well,
certain.
ever since I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do was fly.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's on the bucket list. The remote thing had to be precedent setting in some regards because everything was new now. All these work from home injuries. There had to
When
be
I grew
language
up as a
written
baby
in it.
lawyer, I was taught you never, ever do a deposition by phone. You need to be there and look the witness in the eye. You always need to be present. And now that is not the way it works. Now we take these depositions, including medical expert depositions, by either video or phone. And I have to say, it's not as bad as you would think it is. It enables more productivity for the lawyer, but it also enables us to deal with the cases on a much faster, streamlined basis. So things get done quicker this way. When you don't have to be somewhere and work with all the people's schedules and travel and all that stuff, it just functions easier. I'm not saying it's better, but it is better in that regard. It's better in the sense, it's not better because when you put on a case, it's no different than a circus. When you put on a case, Dean, at a jury trial, it's no different than a circus. You've got to entertain the jury. You've got to make sure that you're putting on the show and making your client shine and dressing up the client and making the client at his or her best. And you have to present in the right order your witnesses and have everybody done in a very cohesive manner. That's difficult, but that provides for a better experience in winning your case for a jury, I would think.
I do not allow important depositions to be done remotely.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I do not because I want to. I don't. When the witness and his lawyer that's presenting him is in a remote location, I don't know if the lawyer's under the table tapping the guy when he says yes and he really means no or whatever. I don't know what's going on there.
You mean if they're in the same room?
Yeah,
right.
If they're in the same room and I'm not in
can
that
see
room.
it.
So
But,
every important case, and important deposition, I want it to be done in person. I tell my people that, and I want it to be taped so I can
And getting back to your
play back the
situation.
tapes at trial.
Right. In situations where we have a very important fact witness or we have a very important client issue, then we will do it in person. And that's we do that often, but we don't. That's not the norm these days because the question is, what happened? Why can't you do your job? It's pretty fundamental in that regard.
215-227-2727, the number for all things legal. We've been talking to Jeffrey S. Gross about workers' compensation.
Pretty informative, too.
If you guys have a workers' comp question or case and you'd like to jump in, just give us a call at 215-227-2727. In the meantime, we're going to take another break and be back in 2 minutes flat.
So we're in, I think it was Aruba. I was married, and we had to catch a plane to another island. This really happened. We go out to the tarmac, and there's this beautiful jet. Like, oh, okay. And then it moved out of the way, and there was this little tiny plane where you could touch both sides. And my wife and I are like, oh, and I swear this happened. Where's our pilot? This kid walked out. Barely shaved. About this tall.
He didn't use the shirt.
You follow the story about
Where
The,
did
the cars were flying, were moving faster than we were.
Where were you flying to?
So somebody wants to
trying to
know
remember now.
your thoughts on that.
Why we took
Do you
that
have any
pedal
thoughts on that?
You must have gone
I
to
haven't
like
given
maybe
it much
Curacao
thought yet.
I didn't think so.
or one of those the
They
ABC
had to
islands?
release the names of the
Faculty.
Jewish
Because
faculty.
you got
Yes.
Aruba, and then right near
Right.
Aruba you got
People who are in,
Venezuela.
like,
I thought it was everybody.
And
I thought it was
then right
everybody
near
too.
the-
So
I
they
thought-
got
Aruba,
dwindled down to just
Curacao,
faculty.
and
I know somebody
and
who
then
goes there and
South-
they're worried about their kid.
You go to Bonaire?
Who are in like Jewish groups on campus.
That's the three.
Yeah, I'm wondering
ABC
whether
islands. Aruba,
UPenn's
Bonaire,
going to
Curacao.
appeal that. I mean,
Well, they're saying that it's unlawful for them to have to release that
yeah,
information.
but there's a court
You
order,
go
so
with
they have to
wings.
appeal it in order
We
to
call it a
avoid the
lawnmower
court
with
order.
wings.
So what do you fly?
A lawnmower with
A
wings.
lawnmower with wings.
It's fun. I would like to get my jet rating. That would be cool.
I would love to fly, man. A helicopter especially.
Yeah, well,
I didn't
they're
think-
playing in the Northeast though.
Yes, I tried flying. I soloed. My instructor jumped out and he said, "I think you're ready. Go for it." I'm like, "Huh?" So, and I had to do 3 touch and goes.
Right.
And so I come around, I hit the ground, up again, coming in for my final approach, and the tower is yelling at another pilot
Elections.
and
What?
telling that
Oh.
pilot, land the plane, and he's like, like another language.
Really?
And eventually she said, just do donuts, and she said, Cherokee 7432, land immediately. So it's my first time, and I'm like, I had to scrub a lot of altitude to come down,
Yeah.
and I porpoised, and I went.
You hear that? He's
into-
scrubbing altitude and
I went
porpoising.
into.
You know that lingo?
I knew what that means.
Okay.
That ain't Yiddish.
We're
was
back.
gonna tackle
We're
you.
live. He was going to tackle me. Anyway, I'll finish that story later. But in the meantime, Linda,
Hi, Linda.
line 4, Linda. Good morning, Linda. Welcome to Core Radio.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. What's your question or comment?
Well, I believe my statute of limitations is over, but I fell in the airport. I work for the airline. I got my workers' comp case. I won my workers' comp case, but I continuously asked my lawyer, could I sue the city of Philadelphia because the rug was defective. He said no. Just to rest my brain, could I have sued the city of Philadelphia?
Okay, so first off, let's find out when did this happen?
It happened in 21.
Okay, so we're clearly beyond the statute of limitations, which is 2 years.
Right.
When you say the carpet was defective, what do you mean by that?
So it was rolled up rolled up on the edges, and it was like a trip hazard. So instead of the water soaking into the carpet, it rolled onto the floor, and that's how I slipped and fell.
Okay, so and who maintained that carpet? Who was it? A permanent fixture, or was it something that would go down when it was rainy out?
It wasn't attached to the building, so it could be removed, but it was there all the time.
Okay. And I'm assuming it was put there by the airport itself and not...
Yes,
City of Philadelphia.
I'm sorry to cut you off. City of Philadelphia maintains the airport.
Yeah. It sounds to me like it may have been a claim. And here's my hesitation. So there's a distinction between a defect of the property and a defect on the property. So and there's a distinction between the city of Philadelphia and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And the city of Philadelphia is responsible for defects of and on the property. The Commonwealth only for defects of the property. And so, yes, the answer is this sounds like a defective condition. The city is responsible for either whether it's a part of the property or just a defect on the property. So either way, you have a bigger definition by the city of Philadelphia. And we would have explored a claim for you if you were my client at that time. And yes, just like we talked about at the beginning of the show, there are cases where you have both a workers' comp claim and a third-party claim. And Jeff, if he's representing the workers' compensation claimant, he'll call me and say, Dean, I think there's a third-party case here. And then my firm gets involved in, investigating the third-party case. And those are typically bigger cases because not only do I have to get you paid for your pain and suffering, Linda, but I also have to get the workers' compensation carrier reimbursed for everything they paid you.
Not dollar for dollar, my friend.
No, not dollar for dollar, but still, if you got paid $300,000 in your workers' comp claim, I might have to get the city or the workers' comp carrier a couple $100,000 repaid to them, and then your pain and suffering on top of that. So these become larger claims just by the fact that we're paying back the workers' comp carrier as well, and typically they're permanent injury claims, and so your pain and suffering claim is huge.
Right.
The only thing I could say about the city of Philadelphia is it maxes out at $250,000 a claim. So
you have to give them notice about the defect like anything else.
Yeah, they have to be. But if this was a curled up carpet that had been that way for a long time, notice can be constructive notice. Like they knew or should have known that the defective condition existed. None of that does you any good from a 2021 claim, and I'm sorry to say that, Linda, but
No. And I kind of knew it, and for nothing. I think that I hate to say stuff like this, but my thought is that the attorney thought that if I sued the third party, and I wouldn't pursue the workers' comp and go back to work. That's just my thought. he was creepy crawly lawyer to me, but
Yeah. There's so
that's,
many of them.
That's kind of
you know,
yeah.
There's
and
so
that's
many.
kind
Of
of
Not us.
Everybody know better.
Here's what I would say about lawyers, and this came up earlier in the show, and I want to just clarify this. I don't believe that you go to a lawyer who's like a junk lawyer who does everything. I do workers' comp, and I do medical malpractice, and I do car accident.
They talk just like that, by the way.
You do not want that.
I was wondering if you want to say something about that.
Listen. He does workers' comp. That's it. That's his lane. He stays in his lane.
Right.
He's an expert in workers' comp. I do third party. I focus my practice on third party claims.
Saul does.
Saul does estates and wills,
that's his thing.
And that's his thing. We treat the law seriously, and not every lawyer out there does. And then there are the aggregators nowadays. These are people who may not even be lawyers, or they were once lawyers, and now all they're doing is collecting cases because they do marketing, and then they ship those cases out to lawyers like Jeff or me, if you're lucky. But more often than not, they're shipped out to people who, they chick around.
The shit lawyers.
There's that word again.
And so,
It's with a
you
K.
got to
It's
be
with a
really
K at the
careful when you're retaining an attorney today, because there are people out there that have a lot of billboards and they advertise a lot, but they don't actually go to court. Like if you look at the docket of the courts, you're not going to find their name as representing individuals, because that's not what they do. They just gather up cases and then ship them out to other lawyers.
Yeah,
and you don't know the quality of the lawyer they're shicking it out to.
that's very true.
All right. So, Linda, I'm sorry, but, now you know my Philly lawyer. Now you know Dean Weitzman, and now you know who to call the next time.
Yes, sir. I will make sure I call you guys.
Thank you, Linda. Take care. Have a great Saturday. Folks,
Bye.
we're up against the hour, as often is the case. Jeff, thank you so much. Talk
you,
to you
Dean.
next week. See you next week, folks.
They are full of shit.
Very nice.
YouTube, I love you, so you get a little of the closing arguments.
We talk a lot of shit.
Yeah. And so,
Early and often is my tagline. Notify your employer.
if you have any questions for Jeffrey, or you want his cell phone number, I'm going to give it to you one more time for YouTube posterity. 215-512-1500. That will ring his cell phone. He will take your call 24/7, 7 days a week.
Thank you for having me.
It's always my pleasure.
No, I was waiting for you to say something about my man when he said, well, he does it all. He does this. He does that. He's this type. I said, hold up. Wait.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for you to go in.
Yeah, I was going to go in, and then I did go in.
Yeah.
No, you
I
kinda
always
did.
go in eventually.
You kind of did.
Yeah, I went in.
Yeah. Good for
That's
you.
what I do.
He goes,
I go in.
finds all that shit.
I get all the shit. I can shick all I want now.
Talk all
Yeah.
that
I'm
shit
not
you
on.
want.
Yeah, we're
I'm
all on
not
Schick's
on
Creek.
terrestrial
Matter of fact,
radio.
let's change the name. Closing up is now Talking Shit.
Yeah, you can talk that shit now.
Hey.
Talk that
Do
shit.
we have anybody, anything, anywhere, anybody, anything, questions? YouTube, do you have questions?
Does YouTube ask questions?
Absolutely.
They do. Yeah.
They do.
Who's not here that's normally here? Your buddy.
He is in California.
Ah, I got some
Really?
business, pleasure,
Every year, pleasure, 2 weeks, goes out, visits family.
I was wondering where it was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yep, he's in the midst of his California trip.
Californication.
Ooh, I
What
love that
was
show.
your airport experience like?
Oh, man. I got to the airport like 3 hours early. I had an 8 a.m. flight to leave. I was there at like 5.
Okay.
I was in and out of TSA in 15 minutes. Okay.
Where?
Philly. And I was flying into West Palm Beach. By the way, it's going to be renamed the Donald
Stop.
Trump Airport.
That's right.
That's what I heard.
That's,
yeah.
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 But until it's renamed, I still feel like I can go there. And
It ain't you too? Just talking shit.
Okay, and so I flew in there because I knew it was going to be not that crowded, and so coming home, easy peasy.
Good.
Yeah.
Any ICE agents?
I did not see any ICE agents.
Really?
Somebody.
Help it out. Well, TSA's getting their back pay, right? Does that mean the ICE guys are gone?
No,
Okay.
they're still they're checking IDs.
All right.
But you know, somebody I talked to who encountered an ICE agent in Philly and said they were just as nice as could be. So you know, they're probably. I mean, listen, especially in Philly. Come on, you know.
They're not wearing masks now. Right?
No.
No, not at the airport anyway.
Not the airport.
Yeah,
All right, so the airport experience wasn't that bad.
not bad.
And okay.
Not
the only
bad.
problem was
Hard Rock, not so
you got
good.
robbed by the Hard Rock.
Yeah, I got robbed by Hard Rock. And I don't mean robbed like I lost money. I mean they physically robbed my
I
ass.
initially thought you meant robbed, saying, "Oh my God, like, why did you get stuck up?"
Yeah.
Then I thought, okay,
That's
do
why
you
he
mean-
won at the casino, because they felt bad for him.
He thought that they don't do that. They ain't gonna give you somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank God I didn't leave cash around the suite.
That's what I'm thinking it was told in the
Yeah,
first.
I did not. I put that in. There's a safe in the room.
Do you use a safe?
Yo, for sure I
right.
do. Of
I gotta
course.
think some of those hotel folks know how to get in those safes, though. Come on.
There's
I'm
always
just-
a way.
There's always a way.
There's always-
I don't know
If
about
they
that.
really want to.
Well,
Oh no.
I don't know.
Is there a camera watching the safe?
No, there's no cameras in the room.
Of course
but
not.
there is a camera right outside the room. But again, when they pull that card up to the front
dead-
door,
in the dead spot.
I'm sure that they blocked the camera.
All right, you two, let's see if there's a dead spot in these hotels where the camera can't see you, a la Ocean's 11, 12, 13.
I don't get.
All right,
YouTube don't know.
Tubi Tube, we're going to close you down. If you got nothing to say to me, I got nothing to say to you.
I'll say this to you guys right now. Philadelphia right now, it is really oppressive to drive this weekend, this holiday weekend. Everything's closed, and then Broad Street, citations, cameras. It's just not fun anymore.
Hey, are they going to have the egg roll at the at White House?
That's a good question.
What's it called?
The shrimp egg roll or what?
No.
In his case, it might be the shrimp egg roll.
Monday, it was always a big deal in D.C.
It was, yeah.
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 That's a good. Did they ever do anything? Does he just?
He did it.
I've
He
seen
did
him do
it.
before.
Yeah, he did it in his first term.
I don't remember last year.
I don't remember last year either.
Hey, how about let me just touch on this because it happened while I was gone. How about Tiger?
Yo.
But that's what you get.
He is
No, he talks.
He is a stone cold addict. He's been an addict for
Painkillers.
20 years. He gives that bullshit, oh, I got a back pain, I got this pain. That's the cry of every addict I've ever known.
Where's
It's
he going,
always
though?
legitimate. I got serious back pain. I need the
Well,
pills.
he does have pain.
Well,
Get
But
over it. You
where's he
can't
going
take
overseas?
pills. You can't. Deal with it.
He didn't say for his privacy.
Yeah, he said he wanted to leave the country to get treated. Where's he going?
Who knows?
He's so full of shit.
Philippines?
Okay, he's got more money than God and doesn't have a driver because he don't want nobody watching what he does.
And then they still brought up the driver thing again, and he still doesn't want to drive.
Yeah.
Did you
'Cause
see?
he's
Did you
so
see the
full of
walk away? He
shit.
said he was on the phone with the
He
president.
needs.
You know, he's dating a former daughter-in-law or
Yeah.
a girlfriend of one of his. So
No, an ex.
is it ex-wife or
Yeah,
ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
ex-wife.
Wait, stop.
Right.
Tiger's dating Trump's ex.
no,
Wait,
I ain't
no.
try-
Tiger's
The daughter, one of his
Tiger's
sons.
dating Donald Jr.'s ex-wife.
What kind of sloppy seconds is going on with these people?
He's trying to get to the bag.
Tiger
He
Tiger
just is-
needs
no,
help.
I think
He
he's a
needs
jerk.
me in his life.
He might be a
Somebody to bitch slap that man and
Well,
tell him.
he had Barkley and them. They don't bitch slap him and say,
They
"Yo."
He didn't want
needs
nothing to
an
do with them no
intervention.
more.
Yeah.
They tried an intervention on him, and he don't.
Yeah,
he didn't want-
he's a fool. He's going to die from his addiction.
It's a damn shame.
It is
Yeah,
a shame.
and he's wasted 20 years of a career.
Hell of a career though.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it sucks
how
for
much?
his
What
son.
could it have
Yeah,
been
it
though
sucks for his
if
whole
he
family.
wasn't,
Yeah.
sauced up on pills and whatever else?
Sins of
he's
the father?
taken.
His
Yeah.
father would not be happy.
Yeah.
But his
well,
father
but
was
his
a piece
father
of, Earl was a piece of work though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he probably. There's no doubt that some of that upbringing created the addict that Tiger is today. And you got to look. His play is demonstrative of an addict. Like he focused his entire life on the play and was the best. That's what addicts do. They spend their whole day figuring out how they're going to get high that day. They never don't get high. So, you know, he, you know.
You definitely think it's the pills. It's not alcohol.
Oh, please.
what's alcohol?
Definitely the pills, right?
No, yeah, he blew
zero.
I knew
He
right
blew
away.
zero.
But did you see him walk down the driveway and say he was on the phone with the president?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of shit is that?
Yeah.
What kind of
He's
he was on the
insane.
phone.
I was on the phone with the president.
He died.
What you? If that's the case, you would have put it on speaker. Yes, you want them to hear it. If nothing.
But
nothing
guess what?
else.
But the president can't do anything about a state
No.
case.
No.
Definitely not a.
Trump's
Definitely
the
not
type
a
of guy
municipal.
say, give him the phone. Hey, listen,
Somebody
that's
who
just
wants,
me, let
if
him
you
off.
want, hey, listen, Tiger, if you want to get clean, give me a call, okay? You give me a call. If he wants to get clean, give me a call. I will slap that man around. I'll have him
I know a
crying.
little something about this.
Sounds like
Yeah.
he should even call you.
He can call me if he wants to get clean.
All right, so, but he has to want to get clean.
Of course he
Well,
does.
that's
And
any
he
addict
needs-
has to want
Yeah,
to get
want
clean.
to. You can't. It's the only way it's gonna work.
There needs to be consequences.
Well, I think he just had a couple.
No.
Oh, no.
Car ain't nothing.
No, he's gotten away with that so many times
This is
already.
like a second or third
This
car.
is the second flip that I know of.
I will take every nickel he has away from him. Okay? He'll
Oh,
be.
you gonna give him the Britney Spears?
I mean, Tiger,
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
Oh, conservatorship.
You
Yeah.
gonna put him on conservatorship?
Tiger conservatorship.
Who's gonna you?
Me.
You gonna handle it?
Yeah, I'll handle
You go,
this.
Dean, I need a check. Dean, I need a couple of dollars, Dean.
Two more.
Have you been to a
portions
meeting
later.
today? Who's your sponsor, Tiger?
Dean,
Okay.
Dean, I got a tournament. I just need the Masters are
Yeah,
coming, Dean.
kiss my ass, Tiger. Okay. Who's your sponsor? Have you done your steps yet? All right, that's it. We're out. Bye bye.
Oh gosh.
Can you see Tiger in a 12-step program?